Last week I recorded this tutorial with this name key, and I showed how to do, the little animated box and the spinning thing and dissolving in the words. And I thought, it'd be a good idea to go through some basic text handling tools in After Effects, because I think text, it gets used a lot, and it kind of, trips up people quite often. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to my comps folder over here. I'm going to make a new comp, and I'm going to call it sample text. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm using Command minus so I can see the whole composition. And then I'm going to come down. Remember this little transparency grid toggle? I'm going to put that in black because not that I'm making a black composition, but I need to use the default. If I go to composition settings, the default background color. I need that just so I can see the text that I'm going to do. Now there's two ways to place text. The primary way, and the way that most people end up doing, is they click on the little text tool and they come over here and they type. They say, this is where I want to start typing, and if I write, so I can't see what I'm doing. Now, I could very easily come in here and put a carriage return, and then I can come down here, and if I write too much for this line, it will, okay, so now I need another carriage return. And this is the way a lot of people deal with text. Now the problem with that is when the client says, oh, can we just make that bigger? So you go, okay, yeah, and now I got to re-carriage return everything. Now, oftentimes this is a perfectly fine way. This is just a single click text drop. I don't know what Adobe calls it. That's what I call it. But the smart way to do it is this. If you're going to be typing paragraphs or sentences or larger hunks of text than, say, maybe just a lower third, what you might want to do is select the text tool, click and drag, and create a bounding box where you want to put your text. So if I were to say make this larger, and then come over here and say this is where I will start to type, and it will auto magically fit into the space. Okay, now see, that's more handier. And why is it up above the box, you're saying? Well, we're going to get to that. I'm going to fix that. So this is more handy-like because now I can take this, and when I change the size of the font, it automatically wraps. Okay, so that's kind of nice. I'm going to make this bigger again. Let's make it a nice tidy. That's not too bad. Okay, now there's some other things down here in the text, in the character box. Now again, if you don't see this, what you want to do is you want to go to Window, Character, and turn it on. Now I have a specific way I lay out my stuff, and maybe I'll do a tutorial on that too. But if you're missing this palette, you go to Window, Character. Okay, and then the other one you might want to use is the Window Paragraph. That's important too, because that's what you would use if you wanted to say, like, make this all center justified and things like that. Now, there's some other things I want to explain here, and these are kind of general texting tools or text handling tools, which you might be familiar with, but if you're not, that's okay. So, if you want to just spread the characters out, you can use the this is the character spacing. Now, character spacing is different than kerning. Character spacing changes the distance between every pair of letters, whereas kerning would be if you drop your cursor, say, oh, where's something that might need to be kerned? Maybe this A and this P, and then if I use the option in the arrows, I can just nudgy that up. Now, a good font won't need to be kerned very much, because a really good font is designed with what is called kerning pairs, and it just makes it fit together better. But you also might want to deal with this. This is the leading of the the paragraph, and leading is the space between lines, so that will radically change the look of your words. And most of the time, quite often, you can get away with just leaving it on auto. That'll be just a single carriage return. And then there's another thing that I want to talk about, and that's this little guy down here. Now, some of these will actually change the look of the letters. Actually, let's do this real quick. I don't like to deal with this because I really respect fontographers and people that design fonts, so I don't want to change the work. But this will stretch the font vertically, and this will stretch the font horizontally. So, you know, is that useful? Absolutely. I just don't, I gotta say, I've never ever used it. So in the default setting, you'd be at 100% there and 100% there. And then this is, what do they call this? It's called baseline shift. So let me explain an example where you'd want to use that. There's three characters that a lot of people don't know how to type. One is the option R, and that's for a registered trademark. Now that kind of makes sense. The one that doesn't make sense is option G. That's for copyright. That's pretty intuitive. I should know that. And the other one is option and the number 2 for trademark. And I believe that's true in all good fonts. But if you think about it, so the trademark is actually a little bit smaller and it's a little bit raised up. Its baseline has been raised up as it should be. And quite often the register wants to be that way too, and maybe copyright, but certainly register. So the way you would do that is you would just take this and maybe make it a wee bit smaller, and then you'd come down here to the baseline and you can raise that up. One last feature that I want to point out, and this is something that, ironically enough, and this is the power of After Effects. I keep learning new stuff. I just was shown this just recently. Quite often you'll get something like you'll do a big hunk of text and they'll say, "Ooh, yeah, we want that all in caps." Well, down here are some very useful little tools. This tool here will make everything fake bold. This will make it fake italic, which basically just leans it over. But this is very cool. It will make everything into all caps in one click. So that's another great feature. Those are some sort of basic text typing controls that you may need to know. And I think the most important one I wanted to show you is the difference between a single click and drawing that bounding box for laying in big hunks of text. So we'll talk about more stuff later. Hope you enjoyed this. Later.